Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do an easy and inexpensive DIY country banner for Valentine's Day. We're going to use some scraps of fabrics. These ones happen to be ginghams. We're also going to use this burlap sort of linen thing that I got from Walmart on clearance. We're going to use some of the Dollar Tree lace ribbon to hang it with, and you're going to use your glue gun as well as your scissor. You're also going to need a scrap piece of paper. This just makes it easier. We're going to make a template. We're going to make a banner shaped triangle. What I did was I just took the material and I laid it on to make sure, on the piece of paper, to make sure that I had it wide enough at the top. And then these banners are going to be 7¼ inches long, but that's just a matter of preference. I just created a triangle, folded it in half, and then drew half of a heart of where I wanted the heart to lay. And then I will get the size that I want. I folded it back onto itself and did a little carbon transfer. I feel like we all made these hearts when we were in 2nd grade, so just follow along with your 2nd grade instructions. But you can see here, we're going to fold it backwards, and then we're going to go ahead and cut it out. Now, be very careful when you cut it out, because we're going to use both the heart to cut the fabric, and we're going to use the template later for the gluing process. You'll see it'll be so much easier that way. All right. So now I'm just going to put together some fabrics. Now these are just scraps that I had left over from last year's Americana rag wreath, and I didn't have quite enough of the middle size of the check, the gingham. I have tons of the little gingham left, and I only had a little bit of the middle size gingham. For the large gingham, we're going to go ahead and use some wrapping paper that we found on clearance at Walmart, but they have it in a variety of sizes. This is just scraps. This is all scraps that I've had. What I'm just going to do is I'm going to piece this 2 pieces back together to make it wide enough for the heart. Now, for this particular banner, I wanted to be able to create the hearts the same and different. So I have 3 different sizes of the gingham, or 3 different size scale of pattern on the fabric. So if you use other fabrics that aren't gingham or buffalo checks, then you just make sure you want to have like 3 different scales. So basically a fine print, a large print, and then a medium print. Okay? And what I decided to do, because of the ginghams, just to make them a little differently, is I cut 2 hearts out of each size of the gingham, and I cut 1 of each size on the like level on the horizontal, and the 1 on the diagonal. I guess that's what I mean to say. All right, so I had 2 of each sizes, and I'm using the heart shape as like a template to trace around. Because this isn't very big, this is why it's perfect for these scraps. However, with that 1 gingham, I had to piece together some scraps, because all I had left over was strips from the previous DIYs. So what I did was I just tried to line up the pattern, added some hot glue, and glued it to itself so that it would match up the pattern. That is not important. You can do whatever scraps you have. Again, so as long as, like I said, as long as you have the different scales, you'll get the effect. Of course, I wanted to keep this in gingham. That's why I added country. My home does have lots of country touches. Lots of French country farmhouse. It's just the style that I like, the aesthetic that I go for. And red, white, and black are the primary colors, along with gray, of my home. So I definitely wanted to make one of these in red and one in black and white. And you'll see a black and white one with the options in a couple of days, okay? But this one is going to be permanently glued to the lace trim. I got this inspiration from Pinterest. I'm not exactly sure. It was on a blog post. It wasn't exactly like this, but it definitely gave me the inspiration to go ahead and create something like it for you guys and for my home as well. All right. So the hardest part is when you cut out the fabrics. It's hard to draw sometimes on the fabric with pencil. If you use marker to draw on the fabric, sometimes it can bleed, especially that fine gingham is sort of on like a nylon-y fabric. So that's me hand ironing it. So what I've done is these were kind of wrinkly, so I laid them on top of each other, put my hand on it, and just with the friction heat that created by the friction, I basically just ironed it. And I didn't iron it completely flat, but I made it flatter. Helped it stay where it belongs. But this is the buffalo check, red and white buffalo check that I had gotten in a wrapping paper on clearance at Walmart after Christmas. And I was like, yes, please. I will use that for a ton of stuff. And actually, you'll probably see that in a couple of DIYs coming up as well. But I did the same thing. I went ahead and I created a heart on the diagonal and one on the horizontal. And then be mindful when it's the big buffalo check. I was mindful about what square was going to be in the center. Did I want it primarily red? Did I want it primarily white? Or you can actually do an intersection right in the center to give you like more of a like a asymmetrical feel. That would be cute as well. But I'm too particular for that, so I went ahead and I made the diagonal one mostly white, as you can see there in the upper right hand corner, and the horizontal one I made mostly red in the center, just to give it some balance. All right. And once you have all of your 6 hearts cut out, now I say 6. We're going to make 6 flag panels, but you can make this, again, as long as you want, as short as you want. You can customize this, as you know, like all of the DIYs that we try to teach here on the channel. We try to get you to teach you techniques mostly, some design, but mostly we want you to go ahead and create it to be your very, very own, okay? With the small gingham, I just also wanted to show you, if I point out that the red in the paper, wrapping paper, is a little darker, but it still works. Because they're in the same family, just a different hue. They're in the same value is really the way you call it. It's just a little darker of the red. If the red was any bluer or any oranger, it wouldn't work so well. But these seem to work really well together. Just it's a little darker, so. And now I'm just repeating the same thing with this fabric. As I mentioned before, sometimes the marker can bleed on the nylon, so just do a test fabric, check your fabric. If you can use marker, then that's great. This one actually worked out really well. It's weird that this gingham and the black and white gingham I got at Walmart, they're the same company. It bled a little bit on the black and white gingham and not on the red, so. I don't know. You figure it out. So once you have them all traced and you have them all cut out, then we're going to work on the banners. So the banners, we're using the 5.5-inch I like to call it a linen burlap because it's a really, really tightly woven burlap fabric. I got it on clearance after autumn for, I want to say $1.75, $1.78 maybe. Because it was 50% off. And I picked up 2 rolls. But I knew that when Eden was getting married, she had some of this that we made a banner for Luna, and it really ended up being very pretty. So when I saw it on sale on clearance, I picked it up. But again, you can make these banners with the burlap ribbon from Walmart, the 5.5-inch wide burlap ribbon. You can use the burlap fabric that they offer at the Dollar Tree. Just anything that you want to make the banner pattern out of. Okay, so this particular banner is going to be pennant shape, which is what they call this triangle shape. You want to go ahead and cut. I have one that I'm using for the template, like with the paper, and then you're going to go ahead and cut 6 that length. This one is not going to have a pocket edge. We're just going to glue directly onto the banner, so you don't have to worry about any extra added or overage. Now this is not going to be flopping around in the wind, so we don't have to worry about sealing the edges because it's such a tightly woven linen anyway. We don't have to worry about gluing them, but you could, if you felt necessary, put fray check or hot glue along the edges of the backside, if that would make you feel better about the security or the longevity of it. But I didn't find it necessary. Okay. So once you have all 6 cut out, lengths cut out, then we're going to go ahead and cut out the pennant part. What I like to do is just draw one half. And then I liked to fold it in half to get symmetrical, because even though I could do this, trace both sides because the pennant is symmetrical, it's, first of all, it's just easier to do one cut. But secondly, you could move your template around, and it might not be as perfect as if you fold it in half and cut both sections at the same time. Okay? So I just repeat this with all 6 of them. Now, I told you we're going to use that pennant shaped with the heart cut out. At first, when I first started, I was trying to figure out, like, what's the best way to glue the hearts on there and make sure that the glue doesn't dry before you get the heart positioned properly. And then I said, Eureka, use the template. So you'll see in a second what I mean, why you want to be careful to not wreck the template once you cut the heart out. Now, hindsight being what it is, I would have cut this out of cardstock or an old manila folder or a piece of poster board, because it would have held up a little bit longer for a little bit better, and I would have been able to use it for years to come. But I just did a piece of printer paper. So now that we have it all set, this is what I was talking about. You're going to use your heart, lay it on top of your pennant, and you're going to spread your hot glue all the way around through the inside of the hole, and then you'll have it laid absolutely perfectly. I know, genius. You could put it in the comments. No, I'm just kidding. It really was like a divine inspiration, I have to tell you. So then you're just going to repeat this with all 6. I like to go around the edges, as you saw, and fill in the middle a little bit. And if you ever have any loose edges and you feel like you really want to tack them down, you can always go back afterwards. But this little tip actually really helps the placement of the hearts. It helps you not put too much glue or not enough glue. Even if they're off just by a fraction, you can't really tell as well as if they were off by a lot. So, and you're just going to repeat this with all 6. Just try to make sure that you have the sides of your pennant lined up with the sides of your template as well, okay? It's really those angular sides that you have to make sure you get really matched up really well. All right. Now, I was mentioning before, you can do this with all papers. You can do this with all fabrics. You can do this with whatever medium that you want to put on these banners. As long as I said that to get the effect to have the different scales of patterns. And then when we show you in a couple of days, when we show you the black and white ones, I'm going to show you the option of actually mix matching the colors, and it looks really cute as well. So stay tuned for that, okay? But the inspiration actually had these really beautiful fabrics in them, and I'm going to do other things with those beautiful fabrics this Valentine season. I just haven't gotten to it yet. So one thing at a time, one day at a time, sweet Jesus. All right. Now it is when the fabric is thin and the glue is hot, but sometimes the thin paper really makes the glue. The glue is hot, so be careful when you rub down on the wrapping paper, okay? So now that all 6 are done, I'm just going to show you how we're going to lay out the pattern. So what I've done is I've started the small gingham. I've put the 2 pennants across from each other, and then I've started with the medium gingham. Now I made sure that the medium gingham that is horizontal is next to the diagonal small gingham, and the same thing with the large. So not only does it go small, medium, and large, but it goes straight, diagonal, straight, diagonal, straight, diagonal. So like that, okay? And now we're going to go ahead and glue. You decide what you want, which heart you want to start with and which heart you want to end with. That's totally another customizable personal piece of preference. But this is the dollar store lace ribbon. And we're just going to put a bead of glue across the top of the pennant and glue down the top of the lace ribbon. Now be careful, the glue will come through. So as you can see, I'm kind of stretching the lace across, giving it a second, and then tapping it on. And then I've put 2 of my finger widths, open fingers, between each pennant just to space them out. But you could get a ruler if you want to go ahead and make it absolutely perfect. These pennants are about 5.5 inches wide, and I needed it to fill in the space that I needed it to fill in the space basically of 5 feet. So that's how I've decided how to space it out. But you guys do whatever works for you, okay? Wherever your need be. And just as long as you keep the pattern, you don't have to either. That's another thing. Country style sometimes is very eclectic. So you don't want to keep the pattern, don't keep the pattern. I don't care. But this is just for this look, okay? All right. And then you're just going to repeat for all 6 of them. Now, we could have very easily made pocket tabs at the top and sewn a piece of jute through. You could use jute to glue across the whole thing. Jute glued across the back would be cute, just to take away a little bit of that lace country feel if that's what you want. So now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to reinforce all of the ends. First I'm going to put the last 2 pieces on. Never mind. Sorry about that. I jumped ahead there for a second. Well, whenever I noticed that there was something coming loose, I went ahead and I fixed it. But yeah. I didn't want to glue the whole way. I wanted the bottom of the lace to be loose, like free floating from the banner. I thought that would be just more delicate looking. And I think this is the last one. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think I kept the pattern going. I believe I started with a big one and went big, small, medium, big, small, medium, which is okay. I mean, that's just a matter of personal preference. So, but I could have done small, medium, large, small, medium, large. That would have been okay too. So now I'm just going back and I'm measuring the beginning piece with the end piece, and I'm making sure that they're the same width, length, excuse me, so that I have it even hanging on both sides. And then what I've done is I've created loops. I've just folded them back onto themselves and glued behind the banner. And I just held them, as you can see, the first and the last ones next to each other so that I can measure and make sure they're both the same. And once that's cooled off, then I'm going to go back and see if I need to tack down any loose ends on the lace as well. Okay. So now any free floating pieces that came off, like that one, and you adjust as needed. Okay. And that's it. So I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you do, give this project a thumbs up. I really would appreciate it. If you have any questions at all, please leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to share this video with friends and family. Anybody you know might be interested in making something like this. Inspire them to make one of their very own. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe. And when you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. And as always, you take care. God bless. And we'll see you next time. Bye.